Well, what up, ladies and gentlemen? So, yes, we are today going to talk about a subject that all of you and most of you have been emailing me about and eating my head. Because I remember when I did my first Q&A, and Robert asked me about, how do you assess a good time to start something or a favorable time to do certain things? And I talked about Hora Chart, and ever since then, you guys want to know more about Hora Chart, and I've discussed this in my book as well, Conjunction at the Speed of Light, about what Hora Chart is and how exactly you use it. Actually, this is one of the very first things I learned when I was learning astrology. Besides whatever the basics I knew, the very first thing I learned was the Hora Chart. And Hora Chart, what is Hora Chart? Hora Chart is meaning your Horary chart. It's the hour, the planetary hour. Hora means hour, okay? And if you get a full horoscope in Vedic astrology, you get something called the Hora chart, where you have the moon and sun sign, and all the planets are situated in it. It's called the Hora of the moon and Hora of the sun. You will never find a Hora chart with Hora of Mars and Hora of Jupiter, or Hora of Venus and Hora of Mercury. It's always Hora of the moon and Hora of the sun, because many of you were also saying, oh, what, can I have a Hora of the Jupiter? I think I have Hora of the Mars. I'm like, where are you getting this stuff from? No, you always have Hora of the moon and Hora of the sun. Why sun and moon? Because moon represents your mother, sun represents your father. And when these two came together, you were born. When your mom and dad decided to have a child, the child came. Same thing here, and this is a very amazing concept even by Sam Juppy that I learned, is that when sun and moon were at the right distance, life was born on this planet. Because of the moon, we have seasons, we have the weather rotation, and because of the moon, life was formed. But it wasn't until both sun and moon came to a certain distance. So sun and moon are always involved. Sun and moon are your mother and father. And this is why without these two, you cannot have astrology. And that's why it's called Hora of the sun, Hora of the moon. Like, people think like, oh, my sun sign is this. My sun sign is Aries, so that's who I am. And that's the problem, because you are relying on just the father to tell you that you got life. No, without the mother, you cannot get the life. And that's the problem. Mother has given a very strong emphasis in the Vedas. Mother, the divine mother earth is what they call it in the Vedas. Without the mother carrying the child for 9 months, you can't have life. Like earth. Let's say if earth has a seed, and that seed is a father's seed, and that seed, without that, the earth, you think that earth cannot create life. But no, guess what? There's not just one seed. There are billions of seeds out there. But there's only one earth. So a meteorite comes with all sorts of minerals and all sorts of chemicals that creates life. So earth is like, why do I need to worry about this one male seed when I have seeds all over the place? This is why earth is far more important than the actual seed that gave life. This is why mother, the moon, becomes very important. A lot of emphasis has been given on this. So without sun and moon, you cannot have life. This is why sun and moon creates the Hora chart. But what is the Hora chart? Okay, Hora chart first of all determines the day of the week. Monday comes before Sunday. Monday comes after Sunday, and Tuesday comes after Monday. Why is that? Why is it that Monday is assigned to moon and Tuesday is assigned to Mars? And why do you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Why not Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, Friday? Well, first of all, sun is the giver of all life. Sun is the king. So this is why when in the Vedas, and especially in Jyotish, when they assigned the very first hour of the time, they assigned it to the sunrise. So sunrise, when the sun comes out behind the horizon, over the horizon, that becomes the very first hour. And they call it the hour of the sun. And then the rishis of back in the day said, the planet that controls the very first hour of the day will control the entire day. So if they said the sun is the very first planet that we're going to give this emphasis to, that sun is without sun, there won't be even with moon and earth, you won't have anything. So sun gets that very first hour. So that means what? Sun rules the entire day. That's why it's known as Sunday. But why does moon gets the second one? Moon gets the second one because there is a chronological order of the hour. So first hour is ruled by sun. Second, ruled by moon. Third could be ruled by Jupiter. Fourth could be ruled by Saturn. Fifth could be ruled by Venus. Sixth could be ruled by Mercury. So there is a chronological order that you have to do mathematically. Okay, but there's 7 hours controlled by these 7 planets. So all the planets besides Rahu and Ketu, sun controls the first hour. Then the rest of the planets, the rest of the 6 planets like Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. Okay. So then you keep going in these 7 cycles of 7 all throughout the day. And a one day is equal to sunrise to sunrise. So from sunrise to sunrise is 1 day. So what happens is when sun comes out and the first day becomes the Sunday, those hours keep going chronologically every 7 hours. And the very first hour that comes on the next sunrise, so when the next day the sun rises and the hour came, guess what hour came? Moon. The moon was controlling the 1 hour. That means what? If moon controls the first hour, it will control the entire day. So Monday became ruled by moon. Monday, moon day. Then they again went in the chronological order, the 7 planets, all throughout the day, 7 sets of 7. And when the next sunrise came, the very first planet that was controlling the third sunrise on the day was, guess what? Mars. Became Tuesday. So Tuesday, because Mars was controlling the first hour of the sunrise, so Mars controls the entire day. This is how they went from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday ruled by Mercury, Thursday ruled by Jupiter, Friday ruled by Venus, Saturday ruled by Saturn, and then back to Sunday. This is how your 1 week was created by the rishis 6,000 years ago when the Vedas was written. The entire cathedral of Vedas was written, including Vedic astrology. And based on this is determination of your life cycle. Because another thing that I posted on my Facebook today is that you never have the same birthday. Your birthday is never on the same day. If you're born on October 10th, you should not be celebrating your birthday on every October 10th. You're wrong. Why? Again, giver of life, sun and moon. In the same way, sun and moon play an important part even in your early horoscope. Like I remember when my uncle was here in 2003, when I was just in the beginning stages of, developing my astrology skills, he was looking at one of my other uncle's chart, and I remember asking him, how do you determine what is this yearly horoscope is or yearly chart is? He said, well, that is determined from the degree your sun and moon were placed in on the time of your birth. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And that's when I found out that when you're born, okay, let's say I'll give you an example. Let's say sun was in the 7th house in Aries when you were born, and moon was in the 10th house in Cancer. Okay, so you were born, let's say sun at whatever degrees, but moon was, let's say, at 10 degrees Cancer. And so every year people will celebrate their birthday. Let's say if this person who has this alignment was born on April 18th, let's say. Okay, April 18th, 20 years ago. Now for 20 years, this person is celebrating his birthday every day. On the same day, April 18th, hey, celebrate the birthday. April 18th, hey, celebrate the birthday. But that's not true. You should not celebrate your birthday every year on the same day. Why? Again, sun and moon, the birth. Your new birth, every year, your early new birth that only happens when moon comes into the exact same degree in a month where sun was in. So if you were born with the Aries sun in April, okay, your sun is in Aries, but now you have to wait when moon is in an exact same distance and degree from where it was during your birth. So now if you're 20 years old and you're celebrating your birthday and you want to know, according to what I'm telling you, when you should celebrate your birthday, you should wait till April, because that's when you were born, in April, okay? And wait till when moon is in the exact same distance and sign and degree away from sun. So when sun is in Aries, moon should be at 10 degrees Cancer at that particular hour you were born in that year. And the hour that happens, okay, that sun and moon placement, that alignment of chart becomes your yearly chart. So from there, like any astrologer, including my uncle, would look through that chart to find out what's going to be happening in that coming year. And with that chart, your birth chart and your Mahadashas, these are the three things you would use to determine what will happen in your next year. And here's a beauty about this. Let's say your Mahadasha and Antardasha are showing a marriage, okay, and in a particular time frame, in a particular year. Now, if you look at that year where the sun and moon came together and that actual map of the chart that happened at the exact same time when sun and moon were at that degree when you're 25 years old, that particular chart will also resonate with your Mahadasha and Antardasha. And that's where Horas come into play. So let's say you're 25 years old, you have your in your birth horoscope sun in Aries and moon was in the 10,000 Cancer, and now you're 25, and then sun and moon alignment happens in 2014, okay, at that exact same degree. The hour that it happens, let's say it happens at 5 p.m. on April 26th instead of April 18th, because you never celebrate your birthday the exact same day. So it happened on the April 25th when moon and sun were at the exact same distance, and it happened at 5 p.m. And let's say Venus was ruling that hour. That means Venus becomes a very important planet. You should look at the position of Venus in your yearly chart if you were born in the Hora of Venus when sun and moon were at the exact same point during that hour when you were 25. So you can see from your 25 to 26 years of age how that period will be. And I'm going to discuss this way later on when you know the most basics of things. But this is also one of the most basics of things. And the reason why I didn't emphasize on that, I'm doing planets through houses and signs, and it might be too advanced for it, but then when I did my Q&A, apparently it just opened up a whole can of worms out there. So your main birth chart, okay, your main Lagna chart is also controlled by a certain Hora, whether it's Hora of the sun or Hora of the moon. That depends upon the degree of your rising sign, your first house. So the first thing to remember is that all the odd signs in the zodiac cycle is controlled by the sun, and all the even signs are controlled by the moon. So zodiac signs like Aries, Gemini, Leo, Libra, Sagittarius, Aquarius, Sagittarius and Pisces are controlled by the sun, okay, the sun. And then all the even signs like Taurus, Cancer, Virgo, Scorpio, and Capricorn are ruled by moon. Now, how do you determine this if you're born in the Hora of the sun or Hora of the moon just from your main birth chart? Well, if you're born in an odd sign, okay, and a zodiac sign is 30 degrees long. So if your ascendant degrees are the first 15 degrees, if you're born in the first 15 degrees in your odd signs ascendant like Aries ascendant, in the first 15 degrees will be ruled by, the whole chart will be ruled by the sun. Now, if you're born in the second half of Aries, the odd signs degree, the second half from 16 all the way to 30, you would be born in the Hora of the moon. Your whole chart would be controlled by the moon. Same thing goes with the even signs. When even signs, the first 15 degrees is controlled by the moon, and second 15 degrees are controlled by the sun. So if you're born in Taurus or as a Cancer ascendant, and you're born between those first 15 degrees, you will be ruled by moon. But if you're born in the second 15 degrees, you're ruled by the sun. And depending upon that, certain houses will be a lot easier for you to accomplish versus the other. So let's say if you're born as a Aries ascendant, okay, and you're born with a 10 degrees Aries rising, that means what? It's being ruled by the sun, Hora of the sun. And the houses that sun controls in your birth chart becoming the Hora, okay, that would be the 12th house, second house, fifth house, seventh house, ninth house. Okay, so 12th, second, fifth, seventh, ninth house are being controlled by the sun. Now let's say if you're born as an Aries ascendant, but you're born at like 23 degrees Aries rising, that means your chart is being controlled by the moon. So the houses that will be a lot easier for you to accomplish or to deal with will be the first house, fourth house, eighth house, and 10th house and 11th house. These will be the houses that will be you're easily going to gravitate towards. Where the other houses that are controlled by the Hora of the sun will become the house of challenge. You'll have to put effort into those houses to gain something. And every single planet is born in certain Hora. So let's say if your Jupiter is born at if your Jupiter was in Cancer at 23 degrees in your horoscope. That means when you look at your Hora chart, your Jupiter is going to be in the Hora of the sun. If your Mercury was in the sign of Virgo in the first 15 degrees, like 6 degrees Virgo, it'll show up as Hora of the moon. And depending upon what your chart is, whole controller of your chart is, whether sun or moon, that will by those looking at those planets and their dashas, you can see which dasha will be a lot easier for you to handle versus the more challenging dashas. So this is how you judge a Hora chart. This is how you judge your horoscope and everything else in your life, because every hour is controlled by a certain planet. So if, let's say, you want to do something, you want to send out a resume, like when I was saying in the last Q&A, you want to send out a resume to a company that, hey, to hire me, you want to make sure that it gets to the right person and you get an interview call and you get hired. Send it in the hour of your 10th house. So if you're a Taurus ascendant, your 10th house is ruled by Aquarius, ruled by Saturn. So the day you're sending your resume, look for the hour of the Saturn and send your resume at that hour. And that would be far more beneficial for you if you were to send it in the hour of the moon or moon or sun or Mars or Jupiter. Same thing with that. If you want to propose to your girlfriend or wife and you want to make sure it's the right day and the right beginning of your life, propose on the hour of your 7th house. So if you're a Taurus ascendant, your 7th house is ruled by Mars. That means wait for the hour of Mars to come where you can propose to your girlfriend. See, it's that easy. Once you know these things, life just becomes everything about planets, everything about, astrology pretty much. Okay? So guys, this was my quickest and the best explanation of the Hora chart. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below because you're going to be learning more about Hora in the future as well. And if you want to know more about conjunctions and Hora in my book, check out the links below. Check out my books there, Astrology at the Speed of Light and Conjunctions at the Speed of Light. And when you get the book, I will send you a link to look at your own chart. Just make sure you follow the directions below. Otherwise, we'll see you Monday. Bye-bye.